Guys, thanks again for hanging out. I'm Brent Abel, and Jeff Jacklich is kind of my wingman today on this webinar. And the big old fat lie, you've been told about how to close out your singles and doubles matches. And, this is probably not the first time that you've tried to get help with how to close out sets and matches. Believe me, it took me, not countless, but it took me several books, several pros, several experiences to be able to get away from the cliches and to be able to figure it out. So look, I'm assuming that this is not your maiden time in terms of, gee, I finally choked a match the other day. I better get some help. So, if you haven't figured this out yet, then, give yourself a break, because all of us, Jeff, I'm sure yourself included, trying to figure it out is rough. And it's not an exact science. And so if you're frustrated with it, then take a chill pill, because you're not the Lone Ranger on this thing. And there's really a ton of information out there, and it can be confusing and keep you from confidently holding serve at the end of the sets and matches. And that's one of the big challenges, Jeff, that you and I have with so much information out there now.
Right.
It used to be books or maybe videos. Now it's this craziness on YouTube that is trying to teach you stuff. And all we can tell you is you got to consider the source. And sometimes the source is, okay, you've read books, you've watched videos. Have you played a match in your life?
Right.
Let's start with that.
Yeah, this is not a straight line. It doesn't. This isn't something that you end up. Oh, I learned this, and now I've got it, and it's perfect, and it works every time. No, because there's this variable that is there, and that variable is your opponent, and that always presents a new challenge for how this this closing out of a match terminology, how that flushes out. It's different every time.
Yeah, no, so true. So look, if you've been concerned that this is maybe something that's permanent, that you're afflicted with this thing, it's like a death sentence, that forever going to get tired or nervous in those moments, then really seriously take a deep breath, because Jeff and I, through our experience, not only as players, but also as coaches and pros, there is a much better way. And I'm struggling with this part of this thing here. Hold on, guys. Sorry. God, the chat box has just got a mind of its own here on my screen. So a lot of instruction is just kind of worn out old cliches that don't give you clarity about what to do at those moments at the end of sets and matches. And Jeff and I both know what you've been looking for, because we've both been where you are right now. And look, let's be honest, Jeff. I mean, that response of getting tight, there's no magic bullet, there's no magic pill that will get rid of it forever. There's probably going to be times when it just doesn't work out. But I want you guys to know that, we've both been there. We know exactly what it feels like, the frustration. And so today what we want to do is we're going to give you a better way to confidently finish out your sets and matches without having to white knuckle your way to the win. And every time I think of white knuckle, I think of my poor mom, who hated flying. She just couldn't stand flying. And so she'd get on the airplane and she'd have one too many. And it was just hysterical, but she'd still white knuckle the thing. Anyway, kind of an off story there. And I know that most of you guys here on the call, we've got some new folks on. If you guys are brand new to us, look, we're to do a little 30-second version here of who we are. My name is Brent Abel, 10 gold balls, fortunately, because I've gotten some great coaching over the years, 45 plus years of a coaching career. Founded webtennis.com 20 years ago, back in 1999. And Jeff and I have co-partnered here on goldballhunting.com, which we started back in January. Jeff, your little bio. Go ahead.
Yeah, most recently, 2 silver balls, 30 years plus coaching, currently the director of tennis at Western Lawn Tennis Club, obviously partnering with Brent. I had a full junior career, college Division I scholarship ball, played the tour, all that stuff. So this is it's just the most recent of what's going on here.
And so, look, we do have a specific goal for you guys today, and that is the only way you can stop getting nervous. The hope strategy, that they'll just give it to you at the end of the sets of the matches, and then close out your sets and matches is, and this really is the only way, you got to stop forcing the outcome. And Jeff, before we go on next, I mean, embellish a little bit on what stop forcing the outcome means.
Well, a lot of times, and again, I've seen it over and over. I've also tried to deploy it, throughout my career along the way, because you get nervous, and you don't want to have to like touch the ball again. So maybe you step up there with your first serve on your first match point, and you try to hit the cannon, and you launch it, 4 feet long, because how often does that actually work? Most of the time it doesn't. And so you waste your first serve because the thought process is not clear. You don't have clarity about really how you should be trying to construct this point. Another one is, hey, you're playing dubs and your partner says, hey, we haven't lobbed the guy at the net yet this whole 2 sets. Well, maybe now's not the best time to actually try that since you haven't hit one the whole 2 sets and you're really not tuned into it. So then you end up just feeding this beautiful little duck lob to the guy at the net and he buries you.
Yeah. I mean, it's really about, forcing it is trying to end the point yourself, on your own terms. Forcing it is also kind of the hope strategy as well. Hoping that, look, I just got to throw it in there. And I just pray to God this guy cannot get the ball back, or I pray to God this gal will not return the serve, or whatever it is. Or, you've got a break point, right? It's now set points, a break point, and you're just kind of hoping, please double fault. Please don't make me have to earn it, right? So you've got to stop thinking about forcing the outcome, which really means that you got to be clear on those things that you can actually control. And Jeff just alluded to a couple of them. I mean, some things that you can't control is that your serve, your return to serve, or your whatever shot won't be returned back to you. Right. And I think that's kind of the big, epiphany for me was, or one of them was recently when I was playing doubles with Dick Johnson last year in the indoors. And, we ended up winning the tournament, and there was no question. One of the big reasons was because the guy didn't miss a frickin' return. Jeff, I don't think, maybe he did, but I'm still to the day trying to rack my brain to remember one. And every return was simply put back into play. And I asked him afterwards, the tournament, I said, how come? He says, look, I'm just trying to get the ball back in play. Either, cross court's my bread and butter. If I sense the guy's going, then I'll try to go, where I think he's going to vacate. I'm not trying to thread the needle up the line in the alley. But you know what? I assume that my ball is going to come back. I'm assuming my return to serve will come back. And here was the kicker for me. And then he said, and then we'll just take it from there.
Right.
And so I just went, oh my God, the freedom of knowing that I don't have to force the outcome. And when you think about it, if you've got set point or you've got match point, and whether you're serving or whether you're returning, who's really got the pressure? I don't have the pressure. They've got the pressure. They've got to get the ball back and play.
Yeah. So maybe we want to make them touch the ball, huh?
There's something else you can't control. Now at this moment in the match, you can pull out some, Jeff already mentioned this, some tool that you rarely use and hope you can count on to work this one time, right? Which could be, you're serving and you're going, I haven't done this one serve that I learned 6 months ago. Maybe this would be, oops, sorry about this, guys. Maybe this would be the time to do it. Or I haven't tried this one return a serve. Or, it's like, Um, I haven't poached the whole time, and my partner's serving, and I poach like a day early, and it didn't work.
Right.
You know, so and you can't control all the possible variables that could happen out there by forcing the outcome of the point. There's so many other variables out there.
Right.
You know, sometimes I think that we, you know, even if you allow, you know, you sort of go for the in-play serve, safe serve, or you go for the return, you know, you force that opponent over there to have to touch the ball, play. But you know what happens is then there are some variables which are now all of a sudden the guy plays a drop shot. And the next thing you know is you're coming in and you're trying to do something that you've never done before. Right?
Right.
You're trying to snap off a backhand topper winner cross court that you've just never ever done.
Right.
So
Yeah,
and
I
there
think,
and
it requires like honest reflection as a player. Like,
that's
so, you know,
right.
just to go to like the like going for the big bomb first serve, right? I mean, if you think about the last month or even the last year of being in that situation, and how many times did you actually make the big bomb first serve?
Yeah, that's right.
And how did it turn out? I mean, you have to have that kind of honest reflection about how often does this plan actually turn out in my favor,
That's
even
right.
when I do make the serve.
Right, right. Well,
You
listen,
know,
and so let's kind of zero in on what you can actually control. And the one thing you control when you're serving is how you intend to start the point. And again, let's say it's 40-30, 5-4, and you know, first set. Obviously, a pressure point. If you win the set, if you win the point, bingo, you won the first set. You got that in hand. But you've got to in the only intention is how you start it. You can't have an intention. Well, I'm going to do A, B, C, and then on D, I'm going to win the point, and then I'm going to win the set.
right.
You cannot be thinking of forcing the outcome. All you can do is think about when you're serving how you're going to start. And you've got to assume that your opponent, even if you hit the biggest bomber of your life down the tee, you've got to assume that there's a chance that they could guess that that's what you're going to do. So you've got to assume that your opponent will be able to make a play. And I think that once you have that in mind, then you start to think about there's always a chance the ball can come back, and that is okay. That is okay. I do not have to end the point right here with a serve, or else it's not going to work out. And the same thing with the return is you could, if you've got break point, you could be thinking, you know what, my intention here, because this opponent's been serving me most of the time over here, I certainly need to be looking for it, but my intention is to make them play. My intention is not to think that I got one chance here. And boy, I can remember a match, a doubles match in Seattle, the 60 indoors one year, and we were playing number one seeds, and we get set point on my racket. Here we go. I get a second serve, and I unload, and I bury it about halfway on the net. And then my partner over there gets me their point. Here's our second set point. And I'm thinking, all right, number one seeds, I can't let them really have a play. I got to unload. And the next one I hit, I think against the tarp. You know, and we end up losing that in the match, you know. So, but the only thing that you can really control is your intention. How do you want to start this point? And as Dick Johnson told me, and then we'll just take it from there. The other thing you control is you can ask yourself, what's been working so far? And I don't want you to think that's the same old cliche as, well, just keep doing what got you here. What's been working so far today is completely specific. It's way different than just a generalized, well, just keep doing what you're doing. We'll get into that. And the old cliche is right here. You know, the only time this thing works is if you clearly know which shot patterns, not which types of shots, have been winning points most of the time when you execute that shot pattern. So there's a couple little nuggets in there. Number one is shot patterns. What combination of at least two shots have been working, right? And it could be that it could be, doesn't matter if it's a forehand or backhand, but it's simply two shots right back up the middle of the court. And we're not talking about and when I tell you about types of shots, I'm not talking about heavy, toppy forehands. I'm not talking about technique. And then the other little nugget here, Jeff, is what's been winning the points most of the time.
Right.
Because we can't execute a pattern and assume it's going to work each and every time.
Yeah. Guys and gals, swing the racket, and sometimes, good things happen. And it's just a random swing. They happen to catch it right, and maybe you hit one of the best forehands of your life, and they connect with it perfectly, and they hit it 2 inches inside the line. And what do? That you got no hand in it, So all you can do is exactly what you're describing, Brent, is you have to be aware as you're playing your matches, your sets, what's working, what is working, not how did I get here, but what patterns of play created the opportunities that won you those points.
And I think the other thing with that is that sometimes we don't trust it, right? So when someone says, well, keep doing what you're doing, a lot of time players go, well, isn't that what that guy's going to assume over there? So they don't trust it, and they end up going, you know what? I think they know what I'm about to do, so I better go ahead and do something goofy here. And so, but the other point I want to make, because this is really important, you guys, is that you don't think that the way you close out a set is with a heavier topper, or is with a nastier slice, or with some kind of stroke technique element that's going to win you the point. That's just a recipe for an unforced error.
Right.
Where you think that, well, to close it out, I gotta really take this forehand to a brand new level. I got to play at the top of my skill level range right now. And it's really not that. So this gets into, and look, it's like, I feel sometimes shot patterns I start to notice in the match or in the first set. This shot pattern is working. Let's keep that in the memory bank in case when I get to set point, or if I get to set point, do I want to remember this pattern? As opposed to just kind of helter-skelter, willy-nilly, I'm playing the first set, and all of a sudden I get to set point. I wonder what got me here.
Right. Yeah, and that's the problem with that statement of just keep doing what you're doing. You got to know what that is, because it may not be, let's say, what you think it is. You have to know, as Brent just described, what patterns have you hit that have been yielding the greatest results. And so, you have to be aware of that as a player as you go through your sets and matches, what's actually going on out there. So it requires a little bit more focus on the player's part to be recognizing what the other player doesn't like.
Yeah. I got a couple matches that I finally, and these were big wins for me. These were really tough matches. These guys were top seeds. I'd never beaten, players at this level before. But when I got close to the finish line against both of these guys, David Nash and Hugh Thompson, I really had that, I had that calmness, like going, here's what's been working most of the time today. And so I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to trust it. And it had nothing to do with, well, I got to ding one out wide on my serve here, because I don't want him to, know what I'm about to do. It's almost like if because they've got the pressure on them. It's almost like if you were to say, David, what's been working for me most of the time today is for me to serve out wide. I'm going out there. Here it comes. Boom. And the chances would still be in your favor that you would that you would win that point because that shot pattern had been working most of the time for whatever reason.
Right.
Now, obviously it's not a guarantee. And would I rather be down set point, or would I rather go back to deuce? You know, I'd rather, if I've got set point, I go, fine. You know, worst case, it's deuce. That's okay.
Yeah.
Jeff, so, you know, how about you with these, I mean, you played a singles match against Eric and then
Yeah.
this thing in Boise.
So, you know, for me, you know, the match against Eric down at the hard courts at Indian Wells, you know, he was third seed. You know, it was the first tournament back for me playing singles again. So I had a lot of nerves, had a lot of stuff I had to manage mentally and emotionally during the play. I played solid, played well, but I found myself after winning the first set, found myself down serving at 2-5 in the breaker. And but I wasn't nervous. I stayed fairly calm through the whole match. I was trying to make small adjustments. And what I realized, I had made a mental note that he was actually having trouble with my kicker second serve. So at 2-5, I thought, you know, I need to make him touch the ball, and I need an opportunity to get into the net and do my best work. So I thought, you know, if I go big, it gets to him too fast, and he's going to get the ball back to me too fast, and I'm hitting my first volley from behind the service line too far. So I mean, you know, let's go big kicker first serve, which is going to give me an extra step and a half in, and let's see if I get something to work with. And that's what happened. You know, I hit a big kicker right at him. He coughed up kind of a hanging ball. I got way in because the ball was just drifting, and I was able to just knock it a very easy knockdown volley into the open court, win that point. I used the same plan on the next point. I didn't change. Big kicker, and he actually hit that one past me into the fence.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, obviously that was something that you had remembered, well, this has been working. So, you know, maybe,
right.
and look, I mean, this stuff happens where in the beginning of a set or the end of a, you know, whatever, is that things are working, but we lose concentration sometimes, and we don't stick with what's been working, and we kind of drift away and do something else. And I think that's where we get a little tight and nervous, and, you know, sometimes choke because we've forgotten what was working most of the time when we get to
Right.
crunch time, and then we decide to do something. And we I got to serve. I've only got a couple seconds here. I got to serve. So
Right.
what about and then what about this thing in Boise?
In Boise, this was semifinals. That was at the indoors, you know, gold ball event. And semifinals, we were in just a dogfight, tooth and nail, third set. And I find myself serving for the match at 5-3 maybe. And my partner, John Sutter, he calls for me to open up the game with hitting the swing serve into the deuce court. And it'd been a serve that I'm capable of hitting, and I have days where it goes well, but I also have days where I kind of lose the ball a little bit. And that day, I wasn't actually hitting that serve well. My percentage of making that serve was actually fairly low. And so when he called for it, here we are, I'm serving for the match. I called him off and I said, no. I said, you know, I'm not making that, John, but I know I can hit the kicker into his forehand. I can make it. So I was very confident with that serve. And so that's the one I hit. So I switched. We had a quick conversation. I switched. I hit the big kicker in there, and it yielded the result we wanted. So that game went that way. I made the choice what I was confident in, and it had nothing to do with trying to hit an ace. It was all about confident shot making and choosing a shot that I was very confident in, knowing, again, I'm going to get some steps in, and I need to get the ball in the air, because that's where I do my best work.
Yeah. Well, look, and that's a situation too where maybe it's not it's not an intention. Well, here's what's been working so far. Even it's more, this is on today, this is the serve that I feel the most confident with,
Right.
assuming, and here's the condition, guys, is assuming that the guy can touch the ball. And assuming that they can touch it, that's okay. But you're now starting off the point. You're starting, not intending that well, if I do this, it's going to win. But I'm starting off the point, like you just said, Jeff, with the highest level of confidence that you can have in terms of making that. Because I think sometimes what happens is, your partner says, well, serve out wide. Even if you get it there, you're kind of going, okay, well, please go in. And then,
right.
And then the confidence is just not real solid, maybe for your, for your next shot. So let's just quickly go through a couple of our recent students here, Jeff, who had epiphanies about at the end of matches about just executing the shot patterns. Kevin was a guy who struggled for about a month trying to really kind of work too much technique wise, I thought. And then he was losing matches. And then finally he just got to this tournament in Santa Fe, the indoors. He says, I'm just going to do what they told me to do in terms of here are the shot combinations, the shot patterns. And the guy ends up winning the tournament.
Yeah.
And it was a big deal. I mean, for him, it was like, this is what I want to be doing. I want to be playing at this level. And Ravi, a really talented player. I mean, a solid 4-5, if not, he's playing the 5-0 level frequently. But he's a guy who's such a shot maker,
right?
So talented that it gets in the way because he's looking to end the point on his terms.
Yeah.
Rather than, look, let me just play this shot over there, assuming the guy's going to get it, and then it'll be a 2-shot mindset. And so when you understand shot patterns and you use those at crunch time, when you get down to set point or match point, it ends up being that and assuming those shot patterns are working most of the time, that this really does work at any skill level, and it does take away the nerves and yields those wins. And the way it does that is because it is not based on having great stroke technique. And that's really the big thing that we want to get across to you guys today, is that you don't have to pull a rabbit out of the hat at crunch time with some kind of magical stroke technique. So the other thing that I want you to understand too is that to build belief in these patterns, and you can do that without adding more time to your current tennis schedule. So, I'm looking at some of these guys who are on here, Jeff, and I know a couple of them, and I know their tennis schedules, and I know that they like to grind off the ball machine a little bit, which is not really working shot patterns, but is working technique. But here's what we're going to suggest is that you substitute stroke technique practice time for the next 30 days, for the next 60 days, whatever you've got. If you're out there once a week, you're out there twice a week with dedicated practice time, that if it's dedicated towards stroke technique, substitute shot patterns, right? So this is not adding more time. This is not adding more time to your practice schedule. Or if you're not doing dedicated drill time or practice time, then at least substitute one set a week with a practice partner where you're playing points. And for me, to me, this is the perfect practice because I get to pull out one of my shot patterns I want to work on. I get to play points, and I tell my practice partner, I'll serve for 15 minutes and we'll go, deuce, ad, we'll rotate back and forth. We don't keep score. But what that allows me to do is in a point arena, in a point setting, I get to work shot patterns and not be concerned if it's winning points or not. I get a whole 15 minutes, a steady diet, a steady dose of one or two patterns that I want to work on. And it's a great way to, So look, it's true. I mean, you don't need to carve out more court time to deploy shot patterns that will greatly reduce your stress at the end of sets and your matches. So guys, I want to take a little break right here before we move on. We've got something else that we want to show you. But do you have any questions so far? And if you do, would love for you to put them into the chat box. please make sure that you address them to all panelists and attendees. And we'd love to know what's on your mind. And if there's nothing on your mind, meaning that this is so clear, then awesome. That would be a first time. That would be a first time for sure. So, guys, go ahead and just type into all panelists and attendees if you've got a question. And if you don't, then definitely we will move on. And this is going to be dedicated to you singles players. If you're doubles only, if that's all you play, this would be of some interest to you, because there is a definite relationship between shot patterns in singles as well as doubles, in terms of focusing on the right shot patterns in doubles, that and as opposed to just grinding through technique. So Jeff, I'm just going to go ahead, and if you see any questions, you can interrupt me, and we'll stop. But so as you guys know, Jeff and I launched our first course this week. We've been going for, today was episode number, let me take a peek, 222.
Holy smoke.
The Gold Ball Hunting podcast on iTunes, and also on YouTube. And we're publishing daily, right? We've got, and these podcasts, or the episodes, last for maybe anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes. But we've been having a blast doing this, and they're coming out every day for the last 222 days. But it's been an opportunity for us to listen to you guys, especially those guys and gals who are playing singles, and get to really understand what your challenges are, what your problems are, in terms of being able to move the needle so that you start getting the results that you want. And so the title of our course is How to Bridge the Gap Between Chaos and Confidence, meaning that you kind of go out there sometimes and just sort of throw, the pasta up against the wall to see if it sticks or not. And that, to me, is chaos, as opposed to getting clarity, which is confidence. And so what we've got is 7 gold ball winning plays, all of this based on not having to improve stroke technique. And so if you have not taken a look at what we're offering this week, we've got a special offer for the masterclass, along with 7 bonuses that I'm going to detail real quickly for you.
Okay, I'm gonna interrupt you, Brenny.
Yes.
We got a great question here.
Okay.
From Lefty.
Yeah.
From the other perspective, if you're match point down, is the right strategy to hit for bigger margins and make the opponent earn it? So keep shots 4 feet inside the sidelines, but still make the opponent move and work. Right?
Yeah.
I think that's just it's a great perspective. And of course, right? I mean, if we're match point down, then we definitely have to think about, if we're serving, do you want to go high risk and give up your first serve? Right. And a lot of guys do that, right? They try to hit the bomb, like, to one shot their way back into the match. And that can be just a recipe for disaster, because I know I always feel more confident with my first volley or my first shot if I've made my first serve. So you may, if you're serving, you may have to take a little meat off the ball, a little pace off the ball with a little more spin to make sure we hit our target and we've made our first serve, so we feel more confident with that first hit out of the gate. Yeah. And if we're returning, we want to tidy things up a little bit, and make sure we go after that ball, probably go right up the center of the court, and make the guy touch the ball right as he comes out of his service motion.
Yeah, I mean, my response to Lefty is this, and by the way, it's a great question, but I want you to think a little bit differently about what you've just written. What you've just written is almost like you're now going to a different strategy. It sounds almost like you've not been hitting with bigger margins to make the opponent earn it. You've not been keeping your shots 4 feet inside the sidelines and the baseline, and still make the opponent move and work. The way you just described it, this is your bread and butter strategy right here. There is no point in having a strategy that is anything riskier than what you've just described. And in fact, the more this becomes your strategy, and it still can be serve volley, you can still serve and volley. You could just describe, you can serve and have a high percentage serve, forcing them to touch the ball. You can play a volley that is a high percentage volley that forces them and assumes that they're going to touch it. But the way you're forcing them again is with court positioning, right? Or you can stay back, or you can be, you can do a combination of both. But to change the strategy to go to something even lower risk, to me, would be okay. I mean, it might be in doubles, Jeff. Like if we're down match point and the guys who's serving's been bombing first serves and we're struggling, I may, if I'm returning, I might ask you, like, why don't you stand back?
Right.
I might ask you to do that. But I should have at some point, if the guys, I shouldn't have to wait until set point,
right,
to know that the guy's serving, having a great serving day.
Right.
So, and I mean this with all due respect, Lefty. So what I would tell you is to make a little mindset shift in that this could be your strategy. You could be saying to this guy, I'm going to force you to play. I'm going to force you, not that we're saying that you're a pusher, because you can hit balls 4 feet, 3 feet inside the baseline and the service line that are offensive, that produce a lot of errors, a lot of free points.
We're just trying to inflict a little pressure and a little pain.
Oh, you mean man. All right, let me go through what we've got in this offer today, Jeff. First of all, the master class, which is the 7 plays. And these are our 7, we've called them gold ball winning plays, because literally these are plays I've used to be able to win singles gold balls. These are plays I see other guys use, guys and gals, to win gold balls. I'm not saying that has to be your overall goal in your tennis life, is to go win a national title. But what I am saying is that if you deploy these 7 plays and sort of cherry pick, well, maybe 4 of them really work into it is what Jeff and I call like your player brand, right? Your quote unquote brand as a player. And that brand is comprised of mental and physical and athleticism and whatever that is. But you might go through this and find that there's really, 3 or 4 plays that are perfect for you. Once this offer is over, which is going to be this Sunday night, just the master class by itself is going to go for $297. The other thing we've got in here, Jeff, are 7. I like to call them extra resources, and the extra resources here are things that really complement the master class, so that you've got everything that you could possibly need to be able to kind of get out of that mindset of thinking about stroke technique and really start getting into some shot patterns. 10 clarity habits that is in the form of a video. You can also download everything. That's a $97 course. 10 positive stress games. These are things that Jeff really turned me on to, that we only get the opportunity once or twice a set to get to that moment in time where now all of a sudden it's either a set point or we're down set point. And because that only happens once or twice, we're really sort of a different level of stress, and we don't know how to desensitize ourselves to that stress. Well, Jeff has got 10 games that we can play in practice so that you get to that moment really fast. You get to that all the time. And
I mean, we get there every game.
You get there every game. And even if nothing else, you start to desensitize yourself to that moment, so that when you get in the real deal, when you are playing a set or a match, now all of a sudden you've been desensitized to that stress. That's a $97 course. I love this one because this one is how you can assess an opponent in the warm-up. Some player, guy, gal you've never played against before, you don't know anyone who's played against them, and so you've not been able to do any kind of recon on this opponent. In the warm-up, you can start to assess them and realize that, you know what, this opponent is ripe for me to use maybe one or two of the specific 7 plays. And that's really a leg up. So that really kind of helps you with clarity in terms of starting off the match, rather than sort of like just kind of poking and prodding and probing to see for a few games, well, let's see what this player does well or doesn't do well. That's also a $97 video course. We've got another resource here, 10 match prep questions that you need to answer so that you don't have any excuses. You don't have any reasons that once the match gets tight that you can go, well, I didn't think about this, or I didn't think about that. I actually wasn't playing my match today, whether it's a tournament match or a league match. I wasn't playing at the main venue. I was supposed to be somewhere else. And so these are all 10 questions that once you answer them and know them, then all the stress is taken off pre-match, which means that you've got no excuses now. You get to go out and be able to play. We've got 7 practice constraints. We've got a practice constraint for each one of the 7 plays that helps you really get the sense of what the essence of that play is, what the shot pattern's all about. And this is a $97 video course. And then we've got my 10 fitness drills. These are not insanity things. These are not craziness. But these are things that I do that there's no question have helped me win gold balls in singles and doubles and mixed and husband-wife. And there's a difference between mixed and husband-wife because, anyway. But so look, you guys, fitness is a component, and fitness is a factor in successfully running 7 plays over the course of a long 3-set match. You can successfully run plays if you're out of shape for maybe a set or and a half, but at some point it all starts to fall apart. So these are my 10 favorite fitness drills. And then we've got a set of questions that you need to ask yourself, win or lose, after every match. So take 30 minutes. You don't want to do it right afterwards because there's a little emotional thing going on. But these are post-match questions that you want to ask yourself after every match so that you start getting epiphanies about what just happened. And when you get epiphanies about what just happened, you start to build another layer of confidence on your tennis game. And believe me, I mean, Jeff, you and I both done this. We've lost matches and we've answered these questions and come away with, I know exactly what I'm going to do next time.
Yeah. I mean, all this whole list of bonus material, if you want to call it that, is really foundational stuff that Brent and I, we've made the mistake in all of these. This is where this comes from. Again, this is boots on the ground experience and reality of all the things that can go wrong and will go wrong. And how do you combat that? What are the controllables before you actually step foot on the court?
Yeah. So, well, look, so that's the package we've got for you. We got the master class and the 7 bonuses. Retail value of the whole thing is $976, and we really had 2 choices how to price this package. Was number one, we could just offer the master class all by itself and just try to go dirt cheap, but we felt that really we couldn't do that and give you all the additional 7 resources that we've shown you there. And so we started looking at different prices, and we thought 50% discount really wasn't going to be the thing that might move the needle in your mind, even $397. So what we came up with, a one-time charge of just $197 for this entire package. And something that we decided to add here at the last second is the Glenn Busby Heartbreaker video. And this is an amazing video. This guy, Glenn Busby, if you don't know him, he's from Australia, arguably the #1 player in the world right now in the 60 age group. And if you ever get a chance to see this guy play, you've just got to take that opportunity. But I videotaped a semifinal match here in April when he played the hard courts. Semifinals, he played one of the top players in the world in that age group. And he made this guy look a little out of sorts with the Heartbreaker, which was a series of drop shots. And what you're going to see is the #1 player in the world in his age group, relatively young guy at 60, playing drop shots that are just literally breaking his opponent's heart. So we've included that video also in the package. The whole thing expires is going to end this Sunday, August 25th at 11 o'clock Pacific time zone. And after that, Monday the 26th, we're going to go back to just the retail price on the master class. So guys, in the chat box is a link that you can click that will take you to the shopping cart so that you can go ahead and stick in your payment details. I think it's just first name, email address, and obviously credit card information, and you'll get immediate access inside the Gold Ball Hunting members area. I'm going to hang in here, Jeff, a little bit. You might as well too, if you got a few minutes. If you guys have any questions, any more questions about what we talked about today, which was, a better way to close out your matches. If you've got any questions about the singles, the 7 gold ball winning plays, the bundle, the package, the offer that Jeff and I are making for the next couple of days, more than happy to answer those questions as well. And guys, really thank you so much for hanging out today with us. And if you think of something when the webinar is over, just go ahead and shoot us an email to let us know at goldballhunting.com. Jeff, any further additional words of wisdom here about anything that we talked about today?
Well, I think one of the biggest hurdles for everybody is to get over the idea that the only way to improve is to improve your stroke technique. And I can tell you for a fact that there's a better way, and your time is precious on the court. And we all have lives and work and family and all those kinds of things. So adjusting the way you kind of attack this can really be helpful in your enjoyment of the game, and resulting in more wins. And that's understanding shot patterns, understanding your own toolbox so that you know what tool you're reaching for and that you're reaching for the right tool at the right time. And the other thing that comes out of this is that you start to look at your toolbox a little differently, and you may in fact find that you're reaching into your toolbox and throwing some tools out because you really don't need them. And our best strategies are not complex X's and O's and trick plays, but they are journeyman shot patterns that are time tested. And all of this today that we're doing is really, again, boots on the ground experience from having played open tournaments, professional tournaments, and now senior tournaments, and what works. So that's really what we're doing here.
Yeah, no, it's cool. That's cool. I think the emphasis you just said, that it's not really based on stroke technique. I mean, look, we all like to work and see if we can't get a little bit better at stroke technique. But the problem that I see and the mistake I've fallen into is when I go out there and work on stroke technique, too often it's with the idea of what can I do to make this forehand so good that in a match it'll never come back. And so what you're practicing is you're not practicing what actually happens in a match. You're not practicing reality. And so I want you guys to, I'm not saying that if you've got a major flaw with one of your strokes that you shouldn't spend some time working on it, but certainly in the next 30, 45, 60 days, start working on shot patterns. Start working on shot combinations. And these are not like 5 or 6 combinations in a row. We're talking 2 shots. That's it.
Yeah.
And sometimes, such as in what we've got in our playbook, the 7 gold ball winning plays, sometimes what you'll find is you start off the point and you execute one of the plays, but your opponent now gives you an opportunity with their next shot to execute a different play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's and the only way that you can really get comfortable with that is just by going out and starting
Yeah.
to really just drill these shot patterns and eventually become second nature to you, where you stop thinking about manufacturing stroke technique.
Right.
And you start thinking about, well, where do I want this ball to land over there? And where do I want to move to next? It's that simple.
Right. It's about creating opportunity. That the shot patterns and point construction is about creating opportunity for yourself as the point goes forward.
That's
And
right.
you have to have clarity with that. What, against this player today, what patterns are going to be my best opportunity to create opportunity? And I think that's just I've had many students that I've actually told them we're no longer going to work on technique. You have strokes that work, and strokes that you can reproduce, and strokes that you can put balls in play, and this is not all everybody at the 5-0 level. These are 4-5 players, 4-0 players, 3-5 players, and getting them to understand their toolbox was like the biggest aha moment for them. And then when I started teaching them actual point patterns of play, they just blossomed as players, and they really just found a new joy in the game, because they really understood that tennis. I've always kind of called it this: tennis is a physical chess game, and you really have to be clear on your patterns and how you're going to get the job done. It's not just random acts of winning sets.
Yeah. Good. All right, guys. Well, listen, I'm going to shut her down, and thank you for hanging out with us today. If if you want to get onto this offer, make sure that you do it before Sunday night at 11 o'clock Pacific time zone. If you're still hanging out with us in the live webinar, go ahead and click the link in the chat box. And if you're listening now to this on the recording, on the replay, there is a link down below the video where you can get access to this package. Jeff, thanks very much, man. Really appreciate your time today.
You're welcome.
And guys, same to you. And until next time, get out there, help someone else have a spectacular day, and look forward to hanging out with you guys again soon.